Hey guys, welcome back. Uh, World Test Championship, long awaited. Finally, aa hi gaya. Uh, Starts in about 24 hours time. Siddharth, what do you think? How prepared are we considering all the IPL cricket that we have played? And how prepared do you think Australia will be considering most of their players had an off season?
I think both of the teams are kind of undercooked in terms of test match preparation. It's not like it's a long series and we have like 3-4 matches. In the first match we can take time. This is like one off, and we have to be on our A++ game from like the word go. So let's see. I think that will be the key in deciding who wins. One factor is toss, which is very important, and second is how quickly our teams able to adapt to playing the test match and then playing in England. Especially for India, we have seen we've been like slow starters of late, but I think it will be interesting to see if we. I think if we win the toss, we do definitely have a very big chance. Then we can play Ashwin, and on the last couple of days we can have a big advantage. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big difference between the previous World Test Championship final and this, New Zealand got two test matches to prepare just before the World Test Championship final, which I thought was slightly unfair. But I think this time it's even for both teams. They've had like almost at least 2 weeks of preparation. The ones who got knocked out earlier in the tournament, and even for the Australian players. So I think that will play a big role. What do you make of the pitch? Do you actually play Ashwin, or do you go with Shardul? Considering like the last time we saw the pitch before we recorded this, it was quite green. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't see. Very honestly, I've been of this opinion from a long, long time. I don't see Shardul. Matlab, of course, this is very pompous to say, sitting and doing a tech job, but I don't really see Shardul Thakur as a proper bowler in terms of wicket taking ability. I don't think कि अगर सिराज शमी and maybe उमेश यादव नहीं ले पाए विकेट तो क्या शार्दुल ठाकुर ऐसे सिचुएशन में आके विकेट लेगा वैसा तो for me I would play the best 11, which I think Ashwin will be a part of in my team at least, because he gives a good batting option. I think at least equal to Shardul. I would definitely say better than Shardul in most circumstances, batting wise. And bowling wise, also, he'll at least keep it tight. The problem with Shardul is if he doesn't take wickets, he's
He goes
prone,
for
he's
runs. Yeah.
prone to go for a lot of runs. And in England, like those 50-60 runs, that tilts games at the end of the day. So I would go with Ashwin. At least he can apply the pressure. If he's not taking wickets, he'll at least apply pressure. And he's got a good record versus Smith, Labuschagne, and all of this. So that might, and oval does turn. So let's see. What do you think?
Yeah, look, Shardul has did really well in the previous time we were here for the test series. So obviously he's an option. But look, last time also we played with Ashwin and Jadeja. The what do you say? The weather was quite overcast that day. So if the weather gets overcast, then do you tinker with your plans, or do you say no, this is my best 11, I'm going to play with them? Because
Yeah.
that's the only like
No,
only
you're right.
way I think he gets in.
We don't have any other fourth fast bowler, right? Who is gone? Is there any
Unadkat is there. So so
fast bowler?
so the, huh. So the third seamer option is between Unadkat and Umesh Yadav apparently.
God, I hope they take Umesh, man. Uh,
Because even Unadkat is coming from a big injury thing, right? He was injured for Lucknow. So even that way, if you look at it, yeah, even I would play Umesh only. So I probably Bumrah is probably someone that if he was in this side, we would say, it's 50-50. But right now, I think Australia have the edge, especially considering the conditions and stuff. What do you think?
Absolutely. No. There is a clear advantage Australia, in my opinion, because they are more likely to. I would say their bowling is much stronger than us at this point, and their batting is a little bit stronger than us. But considering the fact that अपने test batsmen उतने off late, like maybe last series छोड़ के तू देखेगा तो they haven't
Yeah,
done
I
like
think
well.
we don't have our best test batsman this cycle and our best test bowler this cycle. So along with Ashwin, obviously, but I think that is going to be a big loss, obviously, for us as well. Where do you think the match will be won and lost?
I think if we lose the toss, right, and basically उनका पहले bowling आ गया एकदम हरी wicket पे वो थोड़ा overcast है and we might get bundled out very cheaply like 120 150 ऐसे score पे. So I think at the toss, I think we definitely there is a potential to lose. I don't know if there is one to win,
But
but
if the weather is clear, then what would you do? Would you bat first? Would you bowl first?
generally we've seen in England the pitches are very green initially. So I would rather not expose my batsmen to that, give my weaker proposition a higher chance of bundling them out, and then bat well in the second innings, which is probably the best time to bat in England, and then hope that the pitch starts turning. I'm pretty sure they won't be playing with two spinners. So that spin advantage also I would have if it turns a little bit on day four. Uh, that's my thought. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking we should bat first because fourth innings chase and all, we have seen our team crumble if one or two falls, then the collapse is done very quickly. But yeah, I think a lot will depend on the conditions as well. I think if it's not overcast, then I see us batting first, to be very honest. And also the क्या बोलते हैं, since they haven't played a test match in June ever, that on this pitch. So there's a bit of uncertainty as to how the pitch will play as well. So yeah, I think in that situation, probably bowling first to assess the conditions, and then when you come to bat, you probably have a better idea as to what the pitch will do and uh, how to go ahead with it. So yeah, I think that's a fair call. Key
You
players.
didn't cover like will you play Ashwin or Shardul? What was your opinion?
No, I'm playing Ashwin every single day. Even in those four test matches, I wanted Ashwin to play. But of course, if the captain backs another player, and Shardul delivered the results for his captain, so fair enough. But I think Ashwin is just too good to like. But I understand what they tried to do because if you see the World Test Championship final last season, last time we played, Bumrah was a bit off the boil. So then we were handicapped with like just two proper seamers who were going at it. And when we had to attack with a like New Zealand did or like Australia would do with a fourth seamer, we didn't have that option. When we were there last time, the pitches were quite helpful for fast bowlers. So at that time, Shardul obviously played a big role as well. But in a one-off test, I would probably play my best 11 and then think of the other things.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
So key players, where do you see this for both sides here?
I think with the bat for India, I would say Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane. Virat Kohli purely because of his recent form. I think he's looked as good as he's looked in the last 5 years, better than he's looked in the last 5 years. And Rahane, I think he has a point to prove. I think it doesn't look like it, but I think he's one of the most aggressive minds out there. So he definitely has something to say about his dropping or being sacked or whatever, right? He was the captain in waiting, and now he was just out of the test team for good reason, no doubt about it. But he has a point to prove. So I think those two with the bat and Siraj with the ball, I think he's super, super key. He's been bowling well, and I just hope he,
Even
cracks through.
Shami, both of them actually, because our third seamer is actually like undercooked. Even Umesh is coming off a slightly injury issue or something like that the last 2 weeks of the IPL. Even Unadkat the same. So Shami and Siraj were outstanding with the new ball in the IPL as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so so those two will obviously play a big role. But I think how big a role do you think Rohit and Gill will play? Because you have seen the ball just keep swinging. With this ball, the Duke's ball swings for about 20-25 overs or maybe even more sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen this in England. The ball doesn't really stop swinging; it swings less sharply, is what they say, right? So, yeah, I hope that Pujara doesn't go in a shell, kind of the way he plays like 18 runs for 120 balls, something like that shouldn't happen because you need the runs to keep going. So I think openers will be important in the sense that if they're able to put the pressure back on the bowlers, maybe get 15 the first 15 17 overs, then you never know. They go on the defensive, and all of a sudden you are 150 for one, 150 for two, and really have a chance to capitalize, right? So yeah, and Gill is also in like top form right now. So I think potential wise, form wise, we are maybe not like Rohit, Pujara, maybe undercooked, but potential wise, we have a very, very good batting lineup. It's
Yeah,
just on.
absolutely. The form of most of them at least is really good. Jadeja has been in really good touch. Virat the same. Pujara was playing county cricket till about like 10 days back. So he has been in really good touch over there as well. Rohit only the if you look at red ball, white ball cricket, he didn't have that good an IPL according to his standards. But Gill and Rohit are two such openers that if they click, then the scoring rate will be very high. So the thing is, sometimes like you spoke about Pujara getting into a shell, even Virat at times you have seen that the strike rate will be around 30 40s and then maybe later increase. But with these two, if they switch on, like if they play that new ball, then they can just, and you have seen Stark also. At times he can be a touch expensive while going for wickets. So if we get that start and get the run rate high as well, then you never know what could happen. So I also think that Jadeja could play a big role with the bat and with the ball because if you see the last few overseas test matches that we have won, our batting starts after like 2-3 down. Pant rescues us with Jadeja, and then the tail scores a few runs, and then the bowling does the job for us. So I think even he could be massive for us. What do you say?
No, no, you're right. Like if the ball, gets a little soft, 55, 60 overs, where he comes into bat, and there's a good chance bowlers are a little tired and ball is coming nicely, pitch has, settled down. So in those circumstances, we've seen Indian lower middle order do very well, like Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin sometimes. Even Shardul Thakur, if you remember in Australia,
Hmm.
he did that. So definitely there is a chance for that, and I would hope that that doesn't come to that and apna top order ही fire करे. But also I think it's time now for Rohit also to step up and take responsibility. Like I think that's one point he, for whatever reason, he is not critiqued on that much, on that as much as his predecessors, Kohli, Dhoni included. थोड़ा भी लीन फेज आता था तो लोग चढ़ जाते थे,
Hmm.
राइट? इधर भाई पूरा आईपीएल कुछ नहीं किया, उससे पहले भी ज्यादा कुछ नहीं किया. So I think, yeah, if
No,
he
I think
uses.
he scored 100 at Nagpur. So I think his red ball form is decent, but like yeah, I see your point,
No, no, I'm
obviously.
talking about in the sense with trophy wise, right? Like we tend to think in terms of ICC tournament trophies. So he's not won the World Cup, obviously, the T21. So this is his second chance, and I hope he does win, obviously. But I think people give him a free pass करके 5 IPL जीता है करके, हाँ, they don't talk about it as much.
Yeah. From Australia, I think we'll be here a long time considering to talk about their strengths.
I think they are a very strong opposition, especially in England. Swing हो रहा है. उनके players, Labuschagne, Smith are, top against swing. I think Smith averages like 98 in oval or something like that. So I think Steve Smith with the bat, and I'm always wary of Mitchell Stark in the opposition. धार से आती है ball, and
Yeah.
I've seen bamboozle कर
Uh,
देता है
yeah,
batting को.
the best chance that we could have is Warner and Khwaja both are like a bit iffy with the new ball when the ball is swinging. So we have to make sure that we get rid of them in the first 5 or 6 overs, and make sure that we get as much swing as possible when we bowl to Labuschagne and Smith. And also, I think Cummins is the danger. Cummins, I think he's one bowler who on any pitch is a very very lethal threat. You don't say that about too many. If you're like, okay, you know what, if Anderson bowls on Indian pitches, maybe either with Cummins, I have no doubts about wherever he bowls. If you remember the Pakistan Test series as well, they were dead the just roads, and he bowled so well with the new ball as well as the old ball when this ball started to reverse. So I think he's a major threat, and he could probably turn the game on its head even in a short burst of 4 or 5 spells where he just takes 2 or 3 with his tail up. Another big question that we did not discuss is who do you play, Bharat, Ishan Kishan, uh, or do you try something else funky?
What else you can try? There's
I
only two
don't
options.
know. Is there any other third option that we Rahul Dravid probably?
I would honestly go with Kishan. I would go with the expectation कि ये Pant का replacement है. Kind of is not as good a player in my book as Pant was. I think against the swinging ball, he's a sitting duck. But you would hope that he would come like with Jadeja comes at around 55, 60 overs. Ball is softer, pace is less, bowlers are not as sharp. Maybe take the attack. KS Bharat, we know what we'll get. We'll get 20 runs from him. Kishan, we know there is a potential of you don't know. It will be his debut, right? If he plays.
Test debut, I think, yeah.
And I think
And
keeping Bharat off late has been off color. I think he botched up a couple of games versus Australia, if I'm not mistaken, right?
he was good. So that's the thing. I think if Ashwin and Jadeja play, they might go with a specialist keeper in Bharat. More specialist keeper to play to keep against spin than Ishan.
It's
But
not
I
India. कि इतना dust ऐसा छट करके it's not going to spit out, right? So if he's going to stand back versus pace, which will be the maximum amount of bowling, I'm pretty sure they'll rotate spin around pace instead of
hmm
around spin like they do in India,
spin.
right?
Hmm
So, and
Yeah.
also it does if it doesn't turn that much, I don't think that factor comes into play as
Hmm.
much.
If this was just a test match, I would have probably sticked with Bharat. But this is since this is a one-off game, and if there is a situation where you have to go for runs, you have to just like attack. You need to get a 60 or 40 or something like that. Then probably you're thinking, okay, you know what? If do you need Ishan Kishan for that, or do you need uh, Bharat for that? And Ishan Kishan is one that if he starts swinging, he can really smash the ball and put the opposition under pressure.
Also, that and
Uh,
the left-handedness, right?
yeah,
Our entire batting is very one-dimensional, except for Jadeja.
correct.
At least
Yeah,
it gives some variety, right? So I wouldn't mind Kishan actually.
yeah. Actually, I was thinking, would you like after Kohli, would you go with five Jadeja like they tried last time, or would you five Rahane and then six Jadeja and then the left
Five
one?
Rahane, six Jadeja, then Kishan, in my opinion, and then Ashwin. Because I mean, Rahane is class, right? I want him to play more challenging times, I would say.
Yeah, fair enough. Big 5 days coming up. We'll try to like get the daily updates if we are free. But yeah, looking forward to it, and hopefully the ICC drought is over for us, and we can celebrate the ICC trophy after a long time.